This is the Debate Me channel, having some fun tonight on a Friday night, live streaming from my laptop, getting all kinds of technical issues and sound issues, but I think we are good to go this time around. Let's do a quick sound check and then we're going to get right into it. Being adversarial. This is the approach that I think works politically in terms of getting this country to move forward. I'll explain in a second. Let's just do a quick sound check. To it being okay, so I've noticed that in this country, left-wing folks and right-wing folks, they seem to have this preoccupation or desire for idols. Right? So on the left, there was a time when they were idolizing Obama, and then you have the Bernie squad, and then the AOC squad, and the Nina squad, and every time Americans keep getting caught up, and they keep getting disappointed every single time. I see folks on the right as well, conservatives, doing the same thing. Right now, of course, there is this obsession with Donald Trump, a irrational obsession which mirrors what you see on the left, right? I think it's really important that we escape the dichotomy of left versus right and this binary way of thinking, because when you step outside of that bubble, you start to realize that a lot of the problems we have are American. It's not about politics, right? Because we see folks on the right and on the left doing the same kinds of things, right? The savior thing. Everybody wants a savior. They want to be get all their energy and hopes into an individual, whether it's Trump or AOC or Nina Turner. And I think it's time that we abandon this, right? You see both sides getting betrayed, of course, because you have regular Americans that are expecting elites, billionaire like Donald Trump, or, elites like Obama or AOC. I think with AOC, it's a little bit different because people probably look at her when she was working at a bar or whatever, and they feel like they can relate to her. But one thing you have to understand is, they say it's important to always remember where you came from. But a lot of people struggle to do that. You could be a regular person, poor, and then you make it. You have this big break and you join a sort of elite circle like AOC is, and you're in that circle. Everyone around you is in that circle. You're in a different tax bracket and a different world completely. And this over time separates you from the rest of the country. It's very few people that can remain connected to their roots. People will pander and pretend like they do. They'll say the words, but in reality, they don't. I think myself is an interesting contrast. I don't know much details about AOC's finances, but I would presume that we're both in similar financial, like we're financial peers, shall we say. I was born in a third world country, so I'm coming from no running water, no electricity, extreme poverty, murder capital of the world, so a lot of violence. And yes, I have been very successful and gotten into circles of people making a lot of money. And I could have easily disconnected from where I came from. But that's just not who I am. I'm the person who, as soon as I graduated from high school, one of the first thoughts I had was I wanted to, as I was becoming an adult and learning more about stuff that they weren't teaching us in school, I, from that young age, I was already thinking to go back and tell the kids behind me. It's like I wanted to go back and pull them forward. And that's always remained part of me. In fact, throughout my adult life, I have done a lot of public speaking for free at high schools. I usually target schools that are disadvantaged. So I've always remained connected to my roots. But I think that is not the normal thing. And you have to accept and appreciate that is typically not the way things will work. So someone like AOC, don't get too lost in her origin story, because that can distract you from where she is now, right? So somebody like Donald Trump doesn't know what it's like to work check to check and struggle. Even someone like me, I've done very well for myself, but because of the way this country is, with all of my skills and impressive resume and background and my discipline and determination, there's still way too thin of a line between my success and falling to the very bottom. Twice in my life, I had to ponder the potential of being homeless. Never quite went to that level, but certainly was on that trajectory. Part of the reason is because of my determination to be independent and pull myself up on my bootstraps. Right? I'm the kind of person who would almost rather to be homeless than to have to depend on someone. But we need to abandon people like Donald Trump, who doesn't care about us, who doesn't understand us. He is the man who said he was going to march down on January 6th to the Capitol. And what did he do? He abandoned his followers. He abandoned them. Did not walk down with them. He left them to be killed. Multiple Trump supporters died on January 6th. I'm sure you know about Babbitt, who got shot and killed. Trump wasn't there with them. Trump is an elite. He's a billionaire. He doesn't care about you and I. He cares about him and his elite friends. That fact was borne out in what he did after January 6th. People were willing to lose their lives for Donald Trump. Some will debate and say, no, it's not about Trump, it's what he stands for. But regardless, they were marching to the Capitol with his flags, calling his name. He's still extremely popular now. But he abandoned you. People died. What did Trump do about it? Nothing. And then, to add further insult to those who follow him, he left you to rot in prison. He had the power to save these people, to get them out of prison, if he wanted to. His most hardcore followers, willing to die, willing to put their lives on the line, and he spat in their faces. Who did he pardon? A rapper. He pardoned a rapper and abandoned his biggest fans. It's time that liberals and progressives and conservatives start abandoning these elites that don't care about us. AOC, Nina Turner, Obama, Trump, Cruz, DeSantis. You've got to realize that these politicians, they have a path to ultimate success. And self-preservation is a very strong instinct. You think about in this country, how many people have gone bankrupt because of medical situations, how many people have gone homeless, how many people struggle working multiple jobs, barely being able to pay the bills. And you put an individual on a path to becoming a millionaire, to be financially secure for decades, to expect them to risk that for you is irrational. That's irrational. Now, obviously, Donald Trump is in a different class than what I'm talking about now. I'm more talking about the AOCs and Nina Turners. People look at them as regular people and they understand the fight, and perhaps they do. But you've got to understand that once they get into that political world, you can't reach them anymore. You're expecting them to be like a Jesus. Hate to be religious. I'm not really being religious, but these are human beings. Self-interest human beings. They want to be successful just like you. They want to make as much money as they can just like you. Right? They're not going to put you and your family above their own. And to expect them to do so is ridiculous. It's time to put a middle finger to Donald Trump, Nina Turner, AOC. Stop depending on politicians because you're going to get let down every single time. That's not the way democracy works. This is a democratic republic. If you're conservative, you probably prefer the term constitutional republic. But I would urge you to Google both of those terms and comment below what the differences are. But the way things work in this country is it's power from the people. We are the heroes. You are the hero. Not Trump. Not Biden. Not AOC. Not Nina Turner. We are the heroes. Over 350 million of us in this country. United, there is nothing that can stand against us. None of these politicians or billionaires can stand against a united we the people. So progressives, folks on the left, stop trying to get better people in office. Focus more on being a better you. Focus more on uniting with your fellow Americans. Because uniting is the only way that we can succeed. Put aside your politics. Reject partisan media that has us divided, fighting each other, distracting us from the real enemies. Realize that partisan media basically serves the two corrupt parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And what serves them best is us fighting each other. Oh, the racist Republicans. Oh, those socialist liberals. While we fight each other, they get richer and richer and richer and richer. People like Trump and Pelosi just sucking up more and more resources, leaving us to fend for ourselves. March alone on January 6th. Rot in prison while Donald Trump rakes in millions. Lose your home, be homeless. Die because you don't have enough money for health care, while Nancy Pelosi buys another fridge. And AOC hangs out with a billionaire wearing a dress called Tax the Rich. We need to unite. Stop falling for the narrative that we're getting from Fox News, Newsmax, Blaze TV, Steven Crowder, the Young Turks, David Pakman, Brian Tyler Cohen. They are doing, shall we say, the devil's work, keeping us divided. As long as we stay divided and distracted, the elites have a clear runway and a blank check. They can continue to screw us over while we fight each other. Finally, and one of the main themes that I wanted to address in this live stream is we need to stop trying to be friends. Trump is not our friend. Biden is not our friend. AOC is not our friend. Nina Turner is not our friend. Politicians are not our friends. They are our tools. They are our employees. We pay their salary. They work for us. We're the boss. We're the Tony Danzas. Sorry, I had to. We're the boss. You got people on the left trying to get other parties, and hey, I'm for that. But what you got to understand is democracy is not broken, but we are disconnected from it. And as long as we are disconnected from democracy, power of the people, it doesn't matter what party there is. You want to start a Green Party, a People's Party, a Patriots Party. Any party that you create that exists while we are disconnected from democracy can be taken over and controlled by the elites. You really think that you can compete with the millions and billions of dollars that will be dangled in the faces of whoever you elect, whichever party you stand up? It will all fail as long as we are unplugged from democracy, which works. It is very strong and powerful. But my analogy I like to use is democracy is a loaded gun that Americans like to aim at the ground as the black bear approaches. And we get mauled. And after we get mauled, we throw down the gun and we say, this thing is trash, it doesn't work. Voting is simply putting bullets in the gun. Putting bullets in a gun is the most important part of using a gun. But pulling the trigger, if you don't do that, it does nothing for you. Stop aiming democracy at the ground and aim it at what you want for this country. We only get what we fight for, nothing else. Don't put your faith in people or parties. Let me be more clear. Don't put your faith in individual people, politicians, or parties. You need to focus your attention on we, the people. If we unite, there is nothing that can stand against us. Every one of these politicians requires our votes to have access to the money and power that they enjoy, and they'll do anything to keep that money and power. So if we threaten their access to this money and power, they will respond. And that's the only thing that will work. That's the only thing that's ever worked in this country. But somehow we've forgotten how women got their rights, how slavery was abolished. These things were not done by politicians or parties. It was we the people who fought. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it always will be. We need to stop with this infatuation with dictatorship and savior. Essentially, what I've seen from Americans, conservatives and liberals, is we want to find a savior, a dictator savior, a Jesus that we can put in power, and then we can go back to Facebook and focus on likes. And since they're Jesus, they're just going to do what we want them to do because it's the right thing to do. That is fantasy. We don't want dictatorship, right? That's not what we do in this country. We want democracy. But the problem is democracy is not automatic. It is self-service. We are sitting at our tables, hungry, stomachs grumbling, complaining. We're hungry. We want food. Meanwhile, right behind us is a buffet. The problem in this country is that Americans are lazy. We want to push a button every 4 years, and then that's it. Elect someone who is just going to magically do the right thing. We don't want to be involved.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
We don't want to be engaged. We just want to push a button every 4 years, but that's not the way democracy works. Democracy begins with a vote. That's only the beginning. The most important part comes next. Vote with demands and hold who you vote for accountable, and always remember they're not your friend. We need to be adversarial. You voted for AOC, you voted for Nina Turner, whoever you voted for on the left, and they're not doing what they promised to, and you're just sitting around complaining in the YouTube comment section. That's not how democracy works. You need to engage with the people you vote for. You need to be aggressive and adversarial. You ran on, you were going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're not doing it, and I'm not having it. Either you get your act together, or we're going to vote you out. You like your cushy job? You like the money you're making? Well, if you don't start doing what we voted for you to do, it's going to be gone. You need to be going to town halls. You need to be making phone calls. You need to be hitting the streets. You need to be doing your boycotts. That's the way democracy works. It's interactive. It's not automatic. If you love America, you love democracy, then you need to get engaged and stay engaged. Otherwise, we're going to stay on this hamster wheel going round and round. Same results. Swinging from party to party. America is waiting for we the people to wake up, rise up, and unite. Politicians are not our friends. Stop having faith in these people. They don't care about us. We need to be getting in their faces. We need to be adversarial. There's no way that any of these politicians should be able to be on social media getting a whole bunch of likes. So many Americans say that they're unhappy with the way the country is going. So how are these politicians able to be getting so many likes? They're not our friends. Stop liking them. Everything they post should be swarmed with angry voters demanding more. Every town hall needs to be swamped with angry voters demanding more. Their phones need to be swamped with voicemails. Their mailboxes need to be swamped with letters. That's the way democracy works. You get what you fight for, nothing else. Abandon politicians. Revolt against partisan left-wing and right-wing media. Put your politics aside. It's not about conservative versus liberal versus progressive versus whatever. It's about we, the people of the United States of America, finally waking up and uniting and ending this decades-long scam of making us think we have no power and distracting us with the other. Politicians are not our friends. Never forget that. I don't care how good their rhetoric sounds. I don't care how their speeches move you. They're not on our side and they're not our friends. It's time that they see the rage of the American people. They're not doing their jobs. Congress is not doing its job. Our politicians are not serving us. Debating about things that have massive support from an overwhelming majority of this country? How is that allowed to continue? How are the American people silent while these elites play games with our futures? Politicians are not our friends. Be adversarial and unite. Your fellow Americans is not the enemy. They're not the ones draining the resources. Wake up. This is Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Unplug. Unplug. Wake up, America.